When will the crypto markets finally break out? Short answer, no one knows. Long answer, I think it's actually starting right now. If you take a look at Bitcoin's weekly candles, you'll see that we actually have broken above this higher up moving average, which has been the resistance point for the last several weeks on Bitcoin's chart. And we have opened and are currently maintaining a candle above this moving average. China has initiated its money printing and its quantitative easing. The M2 global money supply is starting to increase. It has been for the last couple months, but it's picking up pace. The United States has begun cutting rates. A lot of liquidity is starting to fly around the markets. And I think if you take a closer look at Bitcoin and its historic patterns, you'll see that we are actually at the precipice of its next leg up, which I believe will be its final leg up. So I could not be more excited for it. Good morning, Zach. Welcome in. Hopefully you're enjoying your Tuesday so far. It is Tuesday, right? Yes, it is. It is in fact Tuesday. So let's take a look at the broader crypto markets, some of the economic factors I want to draw your attention to. Then we're going to talk about WellShare Health and some of the DeSci projects to get more specific as to how I am playing what I believe is a solid breakout. Now, if you guys take a look at the daily pattern, the daily candles on Bitcoin, you'll see that we actually are not even close to that breakout. The daily candles look pretty awful. Zach says he faded RBT, RIP. I also faded Ribbit, but to be completely honest, we can talk about that too. I've not been served well with the meme coin industry, and so I feel like it was justifiable in fading Ribbit. There was no reason for it to be ripping like it is right now, but it is, and it's not for me to say what is and what is not. Simply, it exists. It is already there. Now, what I want to bring your attentions to is DeFi Daddy here. He put together a pretty long thread as to why he is, quote, bullish as fuck. Here is why. Full disclaimer, he's autistic. I'm probably autistic as well. And so take this with a grain of salt and not as your financial guidance in the markets. This is just someone's opinion. I'm going to be going over different parts of it and showing you guys proof alongside some of the other statistics. Right now, money market funds, net worth of $6.5 trillion in money market funds. The yield is a 5% risk-free, and that yield has already been cut by 10% with the 50 basis points rate cut that happened last week. The cash is a weaker position than money market funds. Therefore, his thesis is as rates continue to get cut, this $6.5 trillion in money market funds will have to flow into different risk on assets and force them to appreciate in price. If you go look at it, people are afraid of inflation, so nobody's holding on to cash. Rather, they put it into the money market funds to gain some sort of interest. So he is stating, and a lot of people share this opinion, that instead of everyone holding cash, they put it all into money market funds, and this will hopefully flow into the markets. The counterpoint to this is that that is already priced in. Everyone can see that. And so the expectation is, let me front run this flowing of $6.5 trillion into the market. Therefore, any of the money that was going to move has already moved. Interesting case. Yeah, I don't do meme coins. I got burnt on Sage. I feel you, Zach. I feel you, Zach. I got cucked on Landwolf. I put in way too much money into Landwolf and it went straight down basically. So the second point is M2 money supply year over year is increasing. So you guys know what M2 is. It is all cash and cash equivalents in the global market. So the global money supply, so cash and money market accounts and bonds and all of those fun things that are investable, is starting to increase again. And this started back in February or back in March of this year, and right now it's increasing at a rate of 1.26%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot of money. That is the global markets money supply, which is upwards of $100 trillion. If you think about just the money markets being at 6.5 trillion, now I don't have the exact stat, so maybe I shouldn't just throw out random numbers like 100 trillion, but it is egregiously higher than what most people conceptualize. To put it this way, the Bank of International Settlements, the international bank which settles transactions, misplaced $80 trillion a couple years ago. And so if they were able to misplace $80 trillion, that means that the global amount of money out there is significantly higher than that. Otherwise, like, they're not just going to misplace half the funds, you know what I mean? And that's not like BIS misplaces 80 trillion. That's not just something I'm making up. The BIS said that the non-bank financial institution and funds had some $80 trillion of what is described as hidden off-balance sheet debt via foreign exchange swaps. So $80 trillion of unexplained money back in 2022, money that they just didn't have accounted for. So if they can have 80 trillion not accounted for, I would venture to say that the money market, like the funds, the global supply is significantly higher than that. Now, next thing he says is equity markets are in a bubble, AI, ETF, and debt. You guys have heard of the ETF and the index fund bubble before. The AI bubble, I think, is pretty apparent, and the debt bubble is abundantly clear if you're paying attention to anything. We have more debt than GDP, which is crazy. In the United States at least. But he says that they can continue to run a lot longer than people expect. Plus, what is the answer to a bubble pop? More money. Printing more money. What's good, Baby Bull Crypto? I have not seen you here before, so welcome in. Welcome to the live stream. We go live at Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk about the broader crypto markets, as well as things that impact the market and specific altcoin plays that I have in my portfolio that I think are going to do very, very well. I'm going to talk about, once we get to this correlation, well, we're at the correlation right now, so I have something interesting to show you guys that is going to back my point, and I think his point as well. So historically, summer has led to a inverse correlation in the NASDAQ and the equity markets versus Bitcoin. So this specifically is Bitcoin to the US dollar, and he is highlighting how when we go below this correlation index, when it goes negative, we become negatively correlated to the stock market and the tech markets. When we go above, it becomes positively correlated again. And since September, really since part of August, but mostly since September, we've seen that positive correlation, unlike what was happening over the summer where we had a very strong negative correlation. And if we bring ourselves over to Bitcoin, it gives us a little bit of positive support. So what do I mean by that? If we go to NVIDIA, which is doing extremely well today, and we'll do this on the NASDAQ as well. If we look at NVIDIA, which is up 4% today, NVIDIA being the largest, if not, well, one of the largest companies in the entire stock market, it's up 3.5% today alone. If we go ahead and overlay Bitcoin onto this chart, you'll see something pretty interesting. We have to go back to, I just want this year, so I don't want information beyond this year. But if we zoom back to the start of the year, you'll see that we were pretty strongly correlated until the summer. Right around this point, at the end of May, we saw that the NVIDIA started rallying like crazy, while Bitcoin did not withstand that same rally. And we actually started having an inverse correlation where NVIDIA started coming down, Bitcoin started going up. You see that pretty clearly, right? I'll draw some lines if you guys want to see that more so, but NVIDIA down, Bitcoin up. Pretty interesting. Lately, if you come zoom in a little bit more, you'll see firsthand that, in fact, since August/September, we're seeing a re-correlation happen, right? And NVIDIA just started popping off again today, which leads me to believe that Bitcoin is also on the verge of popping off and breaking out. If you come look at the broader NASDAQ rather than just an individual stock, an individual NVIDIA stock, it's hard to see because the scale is so much different. Like Bitcoin moves just way more than the stock market, but you can kind of see it if we zoom in on certain segments of price action, right? If you come back to March and May, you'll see that Bitcoin started stagnating as the NASDAQ was continuing to put in slightly higher highs. And then we had a big fall off, and lately you'll see that correlation come back pretty aggressively, right? Back here in June, so over the summer, the NASDAQ was going up and Bitcoin was going down. The NASDAQ was going down and Bitcoin was going up. Now, since August and September, we're seeing that re-correlation happening, and in the NASDAQ right now is starting to break out once more, which is why I have a little bit of confidence in stating that despite what looks like a pretty clear rounding over on the price of Bitcoin as it's getting rejected by the 200-day moving average, even if we do have a slight pullback here, I think that we close this week up above the 200-day moving average. And I think the weekly chart, so if you zoom out a little bit, gives a little bit more support that what we're going to do is break above this moving average here, which I believe is the 20-day moving average. I might be wrong with that. Yeah, the 20-week moving average. We broke above it. I think we're going to get a wick below it and then hold back above it on the weekly in order to come back up and retest that $68,000 area, or the top of the Bitcoin channel. I'm hoping this can be the initiation of a breakout, but we're going to have to wait and see. It is just a waiting game for that, right? Must be nice to misplace $80 trillion. Facts. Can you imagine that? Can you even fathom how much money that is? That is larger than most countries' GDP. That is literally larger than most countries' GDP. So that is to highlight the explicit nature of our recorrelation with Bitcoin and the broader tech markets. He goes on to continue stating that he just is proving it even more with the correlation even further. The bond market, I'll come back to the bond market because I feel like right now is an important point to make when it comes to China and their policies right now, because we know Bitcoin and crypto as a whole is broader than just the United States. So while we do pay close attention to the United States markets and different policies here, it is only part of the puzzle. And so taking a look at what's happening over in China is going to give us, sorry, I'm covered in hair, is going to give us a better understanding of what can be happening beyond just our own markets. So right now, China is turning the money printer back on. All of their indexes are up dramatically today and pretty much this entire week. But you can come look at it. I pulled up a bunch of them. I have the main one as well pulled up that you can take a look at, but look at how much everything has been spiking. This is because China's turning their money printer back on. If you come look at the GXC, you'll see that it looks like the indexes, the S&P 500 for China, the ETF that we have on the NASDAQ, or on the ARCA rather, is starting to bottom. And I think you can see that pretty clearly with the strength, the RSI, the divergence that's happening here, where we bottomed out here back in October of 2022, and then in February we put in a higher low, and then we just put in another higher low in September of this year. And you can look and see that divergence happening, in which we continue to see downward momentum in the Chinese stocks index. And now it looks like this is finally bottomed out on the weekly time frame and starting to go back up, and that has a lot to do with how much easing is going on over there. China's economy has not been in a good spot, and China is known even more so than the United States is known for printing their way out of issues. So they saw a 50 basis point reduction in the reserve requirement ratio. They saw an increased liquidity in the banking system, stimulants leading to business and commerce. They saw a 7-day reverse repo market rate cut from 1.7 to 1.5%. So this is banks lending overnight, which just makes it so that it's easier for banks to have liquidity so that they can continue to lend more willingly. We saw a potential loan prime rate cut, so 20 to 25 basis point reduction has been suggested for prime loans. And then the real estate measures, they're lowering the down payments for second houses. They're stimulating property market, which is crazy. If you've been paying attention in the last 3 years or so, we've seen huge issues with China's real estate market. So they're starting to really try and incentivize people to go back out there and buy so that they can prop the market up even more. And then the long-term funding injection of 1 trillion won, or $141 billion of stimulant checks, basically. This is basically stimulant checks that they're planning on doing over the long term. All of that is going to flow into the market, all of it. And the market knows that, which is why it's up so much. This is an index fund up 7% on the day. Can we conceptualize that for a second? Imagine if the NASDAQ, that's 8.35%. Imagine if the NASDAQ printed an 8.5% green candle on the day. That's what the Chinese indexes are doing right now. That's nuts. Or this is on the week, sorry. I forgot I was on the weekly candles. On the day we're back, we literally gapped up on the day. So the GXC, which is the Chinese index, just gapped up 7.5%. That's crazy. That is going to have impacts on Bitcoin. So that, with our own here local indexes starting to break up into all-time highs once again, the Dow Jones is up at all-time highs, the Nasdaq is reaching all-time highs again, the S&P 500 is at all-time highs. That means, I think, Bitcoin is going to continue its rally and is not going to get rejected here because of how correlated everything is. Diddy and Sam Bankman-Fried about to have freak-offs in the same jail. Sus. Are they in the same jail? That's super unfortunate. Oh man, the jail Diddy is in is nicknamed Suicide Jail, so Diddy is on suicide watch right now. Hopefully you get my dramatized air quotes with that. So, correlation back on in the markets. China, money printing back on. Global M2 money supply beginning to increase again, dramatically. We have more and more and more bullish indications that we are going to see Bitcoin continue to break out. The seasonality is over. We're getting into October, which I know is like just kind of speculation with the 4-year cycle, but historically it's worked out pretty good. We'll continue on DeFi Daddy's post here. If you don't know DeFi Daddy, I highly recommend you go follow him over on X. He posts a lot of really informative stuff, and he's a smart man. He's a smart man when it comes to financial markets. But the HYGEGH, the corporate bond ETF. So this is a boring ass TradFi instrument that can be used to measure future sentiment in the context of rate cuts, uncertainty, etc. Can be summed up as: if corporate bonds increase in value, it is because people expect the companies to also increase in value. Get it? Why would you buy a company's debt if you think the company is not going to be able to pay off that debt in the long term? A bond is just debt. Who the fuck wants to hold the debt of a shitter? If bond traders are bullish, you should probably be bullish as well. So this is like the old money. Old money is going to be trading bonds, and if they are continuing to go higher, that means that people are continuing to funnel in. Now, it is interesting looking at this because this is the iShares interest rate hedged high yield bond ETF. So this is high yielding corporate debt. Now, according to this trend, this pattern, it does look like this is going to start coming down, right? This does look like it's in the area it's been consistently getting rejected at. But it is an 882-day high. So this, I think, could be taken either way, to be completely honest, because if this is going to cycle back down, that would mean that people start selling off some of these corporate bonds. But rate cuts did yield a massive influx of purchasers of corporate debt. I kind of want to pull it up, actually, now that I'm saying it out loud. What was it? HGYH? No, that was not it, clearly. HYGH. HYGH. High interest rate hedged yield funds. This is fascinating, because this has just been looking like it's been on a downtrend for so long. From 2015, 2014, since the creation of this fund, it's really just been trending down. It's consistently been getting rejected around the same area, and it low-key looks like it's building out support to trend higher, which is quite fascinating, because if people are going to be flooding back into securities. All right, this guy's out here cutting my lawn. Oh, that's not going to be beneficial. Pin scale, no scale, full screen. That's interesting though, because if you kind of look at this and overlay everything, you'll see the correlation actually pretty strong here. So this I think is something worth paying attention to, because again, this is corporate bonds, so people buying them thinking that companies' valuations are going to go up. So During 2014 to 2016, it was selling off as Bitcoin was going down in price. From 2016 until 2018, it was going up as Bitcoin was going up. Same thing. It had a bit of a sell-off as Bitcoin had that massive sell-off from 2018 until 2020. And then from 2020 until 2021 or 2022, it was going up. And so was the price of Bitcoin. Now we had another little sell-off here for Bitcoin to sell off during 2022, and what we saw was the bottoming and the start to increase in this corporate bond ETF as Bitcoin was going up. So this is interesting, and I think this is probably something that can be told with a different story. I feel like we're a little bit in the weeds looking at this, but I think it is still a pretty interesting correlation to make. While it looks like corporate bonds are starting to break out and go higher, which has historically led to Bitcoin going higher, despite corporate bonds, according to this little technical analysis, being at a point in which they historically have gone down in value. But I don't think we'll see them go down if rate cuts continue the way that we're expecting them to continue, because it just makes sense for the Fed to cut rates for people to go into high yielding corporate debt, right? We'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. But his point is that if TradFi is bullish on companies, you probably should be bullish on companies as well. And then the dollar, of course, I haven't looked at the dollar in quite some time either. So let's pull up the Dixie, DXY, the US dollar index. That has been falling. And this is a story as old as time. Everyone knows that when the dollar goes down, dollar denominated assets go up. And if the dollar denominated assets you're looking at are Bitcoin and stock market, that means that you can expect some sort of a rally as the dollar is going down. And I do think that we put in a lower high right here compared to back here in the .com bubble. And I think that we're going to see the dollar slowly bleed down. We'll see where it ends up going, but I think that's pretty clear. How do I get back to a normal? Yeah, we're chilling at 100 right now at the 200-week moving average. If we don't hold this, I think we continue downwards, and this does not look like any kind of strength. This looks like a slow bleed in order to hopefully have a little relief rally, a dead cat bounce here before we continue trending down even further. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the dollar index come back down to this like $95 area through the rest of this year, really. Through the rest of 2025 or 2024 into 2025. Would not be surprised at all to see that, which would be bullish for our cryptos. Now, I think I've gone over quite a bit of larger scale information. The other thing is we have 46 days of nonsense before we get another rate cut, but it doesn't even matter what happens. We know what the trend is now. We know what the trend is for the Fed. It's just a little bit of uncertainty again in the market, but certainty that we're going to continue to get rate cuts. And then he continues going on and on and on, talking about how Larry Fink is shilling Bitcoin. If you've ever been to an airport lately, you've seen the if you've been to an airport, you've seen the ads for different ETF products for crypto, an Ethereum ad and a Bitcoin ad, which means the large hedge funds right now are literally advertising. They're competing against each other to get people to use their product. So they're shilling our bags for us, which is inevitably bullish. All this to say that Bitcoin is going to continue on its trend upwards. And I think that this is a good breakout back up to the top of this channel, which you've seen all over the market. You've seen everywhere that when Bitcoin is breaking out, when things finally look like we're getting bullish uptrends, you see everything continue. You see the meme coins and the small cap altcoins start to perform well. When there's uncertainty with Bitcoin, they don't perform good, but when there is certainty with Bitcoin, they start performing well. So you see things like Data Lake here finally have a little room to breathe. You see things like Ribbit, which Lucas has been chilling for days now, really like putting in an all-time high. That's actually nuts. This is a small little meme coin that is putting in an all-time high right now. You see things like Eagle AI, which a lot of you guys got into, which I faded, and I'm disappointed that I faded. But this sucker went up a disgusting amount. Look at this. It went up 1,500%. It's finally having a breather, but that was an insane rally. That was an insane rally. We look at Ribbit even. Ribbit did something very similar. Ribbit went up 3,000%. That's retardio. That is actually insanity. And pretty much all of DeSci too. DeSci's back up to a $500 million market cap. That's pretty gorgeous. Yes, yeah, yeah, we're finally here. We are finally here. Oh man, I gotta take a snip of that actually. SNIP, snipping tool, new. I don't think I want all of this. I think I just want that. Boom. Save. Go ahead and move this thing over here. Decentralized science above 500 million, and then we'll do another one and brag a little bit about having called Dynex so beautifully. Bam. Bam, bam, bam. And then even, I have not yet looked at the microcap watch list that I put together the other day. It's doing okay. TARS is up 21% today. That's bullish. We got Dynex up 12%. We got Open GPU up 2.4%. We got Kudos, Dion, and Okta down a little bit. But ultimately, you look at these weekly gains, they're pretty damn good. Okta gave up most of its weekly gains here today and yesterday, but the rest of them have been performing pretty nicely. I put together a Bitcoin ecosystem watch list too. That's right. Dynex is up due to patent submission. Hell yeah, boy. Hell yeah. Let's go look at Dynex. Let's see what they've posted. Let's be real, okay? Let's be real. We all know why Dynex is up. It's because some handsome motherfucker just did an interview with one of them, with their head of ecosystem growth, and he posted it on X on September 21st. And when he did that, on September 21st, what we saw following that was the rally. Let's be real. He posted that video on the bottom. I'm just playing. I'm just playing with you guys. But what I did do on the what I did do was go into my Discord and in the trade history post that I was going heavy on the 20th. That investor moves markets. You're damn right, Zach. Posted that I was going heavy into Dynex. After that interview, he made me extremely bullish. And this pattern, I think, is the perfect flag breakout. Like, we come look at this objectively and just look at what's been happening. Go back to the log scale for Dynex. Everything fundamentally about Dynex is taking off, and the chart was going down in a bullish flag. I think this is very clearly breaking out. And if we even go ahead and take some moon math forecasting of the bar patterns and come here and take this and realign it, and kind of overlay that breakout. I don't think it's going to happen that quickly, but it does give us a bit of expectations of getting Dynex up at $5 just about. Dynex sitting at 25-30 cents up to $5, I think is a pretty bullish breakout. Now, I don't think it'll happen that quickly, but I do firmly believe that Dynex goes to $5, even if you just take something like this and have that be the breakout, a longer scale into next year, and we get $2.50 from this breakout. I do think it's happening. I do think we're in the middle of that breakout. So I entered for my long-term positioning down here pretty heavily. And then for a trade, I added even more with the expectation of taking profits around this trend line. So especially when he gets on planes, RIP. 5G. What about 5G, Johnny? It's bullish. The broader market is pretty bullish right now. At least for a bit of a rally. We'll see. Especially this trade plays out beautifully if we can see Bitcoin actually hold here, hold the line, and continue upwards. If we can see that, we're going crazy. 5G into Dynex. Let's go. Oh, $5,000. Let's go, Johnny. Let's go. Hopefully it's going well for you. Oh, yeah. All right, Johnny. Why are you trying to dox me like that? Are you putting out my trades like that, huh? I know I doxed it to you already. I doxed it publicly yesterday. But what the hell, man? I'm playing, Johnny. You know I love you. I have your wallets. Chill, chill, chill. Yeah, I think there's a lot of bullish trades set up right now. I think there's a lot of patterns that are worth paying attention to. I mean, TARS, I was talking about this one for a while. I got in a little bit with it, but not as heavy as I wanted to, especially after seeing the dilution event that took place. But that doesn't change the fact that like TARS is breaking out. 30% gains is pretty decent. I know it's nothing compared to the meme trades that you guys have seen, but it is more reliable in my opinion. It's more stable, and it is the bread and butter that got me where I'm at right now, is trading projects that I have an understanding of and can really conceptualize the moves. Like, yeah, like Axon. Axon's a good example of it. Not a meme coin, can move like a meme coin, but that breakout is easier to trade than some of the other projects out there. It just makes sense. It makes more sense to me. But on a little bit of a, well, actually, no, I wanted to see what they announced. So 3 hours ago, new feature announcement, team management for quantum resources. We've introduced a latest feature designed to meet the needs of larger customers, team management for quantum resources. Hell yeah. We're excited to announce Dynex has officially submitted an international PCT patent application to secure global protection for intellectual property for neuromorphic quantum computing. That is going to hopefully cement their lead in the industry. As we know, they have a ridiculous lead. Actually, it's a retardio lead, how advanced their systems are compared to anything else in the current marketplace. Cubic, looking forward to the roundup, is doing a space with Octaspace, Dynex, Cubic, and Commune AI. That's an interesting one I'm probably going to want to partake in. Micro, shout out Micro, he's good at what he does. Dropped it in the cord. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you. A lot of new things coming from Dynex, and we outlined a lot of them in this interview as well. Truthfully, a lot of stuff was talked about in this interview, and I would personally pay close attention to it. Clifford is a very smart man. He's super connected to it. On to the last two things I had specific for this live stream. One more thing that's important to pay attention to, and then something that was lighthearted and kind of just blew my mind that was taking place. So Wellshare is initiating their pre-sale phase 2 next week on Tuesday, October 1st. So to start off October is another phase of pre-sales for Wellshare Health. So hopefully this one goes pretty well. I'm trying to coordinate a deal with them to assist them in some of their marketing efforts for the remainder of the bull market for the next 12 months or so. We'll see how everything plays out, but I like the team, I like what they're doing, and so I want to get more heavily involved, especially as we get back into what I believe will be good pre-sale season if we can see Bitcoin break out, right? If we can see Bitcoin continuing to break out and go back to all-time highs, I think that pre-sale season comes back on. I think Wellshare's got good potential to be a big DeSci player, so I want to help them. But right now, I'm just paying attention, just like you guys, though. The final thing, which I thought was hilarious, is Bitcoin Magazine posting about not Thread Guy talking to Trump. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but you should. I feel like the search algorithm is just not going to allow me to do anything here. Whatever, he probably commented underneath it, yeah. Did I not type that in? Not Thread Guy, didn't pop up. So he interviewed Andrew Tate. He bought, hey, oh, is this real what you guys are talking about? That's crazy then. He bought a bunch of Trump trading cards to go and meet Trump. And he asked a weird question that I would not have asked, but nobody really seemed to like it. Yeah, Weather Guru tweeted it. Funny. Let's see if this is loud enough. No, it is not. Oh, I don't even have my audio capture device on. There we go. So he asked Trump this question. He posted a lot of stuff about, let me just show you.
NFTs. I'm curious what you think the future of crypto looks like if, God forbid, you don't win the election.
Future of crypto, what does it look like? Well, I think it's a good future. You know, who knows about...
First of all, Trump didn't even catch the question that he asked. He said, if God forbid you don't get elected. And Trump was like, I think the future is good.
About anything today. But I think it's a good future. I tell you what, you look at values, you look at what's happening and where it's come and where it came from. I think crypto's got a great future. I think it really does. Maybe we'll pay off the $35 trillion in crypto. I'll write out a little piece of paper, 35 trillion crypto. We have no debt, right? That's what I like, right? He likes that idea too, he's laughing.
So, funny idea. He's gonna print a coin, make it worth 35 trillion, liquidate it at the peak, and then pay off all the debt. So kind of just being funny, being silly with it. That's obviously not possible. That's obviously not even something that would work out. Like, there's not enough liquidity for you to do that. You could make the market cap 35 trillion, but you'll never get the liquidity from that. So all you'd be doing is making a coin and paying off the debt with a coin that you would have to make legal tender, and you'd have to back it by something. So not going to work. Obviously, everyone knows it's not going to work. It is quite funny, though, to see the freak out that a lot of the internet is having over this idea. Like, it's just silly. It's just silly. It's a funny question and a funny answer. But yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of that Q&A? You guys heard it, I'm assuming. But Not Thread Guy is on one of the most epic runs I think we've ever seen a crypto content creator do. It's what I was hoping the crypto network would do, Rafe, but he is choosing to travel the world and not do that, which is fine, to each their own. But Not Thread Guy is going nuts. Lucas is trying to FaceTime me and Amanda right now. It's funny. I would answer it, but there's a high likelihood he says something that gets me deleted off the internet. So I will not be answering it on the live. Can I do a poll, actually? Engage with your audience. No, I don't want to do a poll because I do not want to answer it. Trump just needs to not go after crypto and hire a competent SEC chair, and it'll be good. I agree. There's not much that he needs to do. And ultimately, like, the crypto vote, aside from the small little subset of people who are like crypto for Harris. Can you stop doing caps? Can you stop doing caps? Aside from the small subset of people who follow this account, I think it's this one. Yeah. Most of crypto understands that Trump is going to be better than Harris when it comes to crypto. And so I don't think he even needs to campaign for us anymore. I think he made the couple initial promises and that's it. And ultimately, it's not that big of a talking point for the broader United States. And while it's going to help us, and I think it'll help stimulate the economy in the next 10 to 20 years, it's not something that's going to really win or lose him the election. Like, even if all of us, all the crypto heads voted for Harris, I don't think it's going to sway the election that much. Now, I don't think that's even a concern, truthfully. I think that everyone knows that Trump is better for crypto. Unless they don't. What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to be better? Here, I'll do that poll. Trump or Harris? Trump, Harris. Start the poll. I haven't done a poll in quite some time. Oh, we got one vote for Trump. Dun, 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 dun. The last update I have for you guys, unless you guys want to talk about anything else, but I have a lot of stuff I need to get done today. And so the last thing I was going to do is briefly address the portfolio challenge again, because yesterday I added another 100 Dynex to the portfolio challenge just in time for us to go up another 12%. Again, I think this is one of the easiest trades out there. Axon, I think, is starting to slow down, and low-key makes sense to, if you were trading, take some off the table, as that is quite the slowdown. One thing I did think was worth bringing up and bringing to everyone's attention is a quick little trend that I saw with some of the cryptos. So it's a continuation of the pattern that I saw and pointed out to you guys the other day, in which we see a litany. All of the major DeSci projects have this clear downtrend, followed by a breakout of the downtrend and a rally of 100 to 200%. Research Coin rallied to the 200-day moving average. If we go to Axon, I'll shut that off. DeSci Shillers is starting to pop off a little bit. The Telegram. If we go to Axon, we see the same thing, where they had a clear downtrend, followed by a strong rally, shocker, right to the 200-day moving average, which just formed. Very interesting. Same pattern as Research Coin, just a little bit later. If we go to Data Lake, you see Data Lake had that same downtrend, the breakout. It's not yet reached its 200-day moving average, but it is, I think, headed there, which would be another, from here, 70% on Data Lake, which is pretty beautiful, if you ask me. If you go look at VitaDAO, I think VitaDAO is going to have the same exact pattern, where it's had that downtrend starting to break out. I think it's going to hit the 200-day moving average. What is another one? Genomes doesn't have the 200-day moving average yet, but I would assume it's going to be somewhere right up here. Breakout, rally to 200-day moving average. Next DeSci Shillers raid US Capital. Beagle, be careful. You're going to get us banned. I'm down for that. And actually, where did I put it? I didn't even bring this up, but this is China's money cycles. So I'll wait for this to load. But On the 28th of September, so 4 days from now, there is actually a US Capitol raid happening. It's not a real raid. I don't want to get taken down. I don't want to get flagged for anything right now. But in 4 days, there is an event going on where people are to gather peacefully and protest. This event has people like Ian Carroll, who's supporting it. This event has people like RFK, who is attending. It has Tucker Carlson, who is supporting it. It has a whole list of people that are supporting it. But this is China's money supply. Boom, 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 boom. I think you can clearly see what's happening. This spike of uptrend. It's starting to take off, guys. It's actually finally happening. A 12-month liquidity injection and absorption. I didn't bookmark it, but I do know that Ian posted about it. So if we go to Ian, he supported it. Rescue the public. Rescue the Republic. Boom. Right underneath it, he posted this. Look at the people that are going to be here. September 29th, Washington, D.C. Jointheresistance.org. Rescue the Republic. Join the resistance. This is going to make national news. We got RFK. We got Russell. We got whatever this dude's name is, who's all over the place all the time. We got this dude who I can't remember his name either. We got this guy. We got all... I know I'm just saying this guy, but they all look like familiar faces. I just don't remember their exact names. But they're putting on a big event here. Next Sunday, Tucker Carlson tweeted it. So, low-key, I don't think we need to raid the White House. I think they're going to do it for us. So, but with that being said, we do need to pick the next raid. So I want you guys thinking who it should be. We've already done Lucas's Telegram. We've done Josh's Telegram. We've done Jolly Green Investors Discord. Who else should we be raiding? It's going to be fun. It's on Thursdays. Like I said at the beginning of the live stream here, we go live Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 12:30 on Thursdays, we raid different Telegram or Discord groups in order to talk about decentralized science in an organic way, in order to spread the good word of DeSci. One thing that's kind of fun, and I didn't even go over the liquidity maps here, but one thing that is kind of fun is that I recently saw a YouTube video from a very large influencer on Research Hub. Apparently his SEO was not great. Apparently my SEO is not great either. Why didn't I show up? Ah, there he is, the handsome guy. Coin Bureau did one a little bit ago. There I am again. Here it is. Jesse Eckel. Why I'm buying more Research Coin. A deep dive. He posted it yesterday. And a lot of the interesting things about it, this is Patrick Joyce. I also have an interview lined up with a Research Coin for next week. But I was reading through the comments, and a lot of people are not fond of DeSci. Terrible tokenomics for this one. No, they're not. They're actually pretty beautiful. You just didn't look into it. That's okay. I'd rather 2x my whole bag than lose it all. DeSci isn't hyped. It's a high-risk play. Good luck with that. It already pumped like crazy. Academic publishing industry is actually $25 billion a year. As this one is the only bullish comment that I saw. Most of the people here are super bearish on DeSci, which should tell you something, because when is the general public ever correct in their assertions towards something? The answer is virtually never. When people are against what you're doing, especially with an investment, it often means you found that undervalued area that could make you large outsized returns. Doesn't always mean that, but when you do the research and you see all of the pointers going towards one final conclusion, and that makes you bullish, and then you go check social sentiment, and most of the people out there are not yet awoke to what is really going on underneath the surface, that is usually a good indicator, at least for me. And I think my track record proves itself in that regards for things like Palantir. Now you're seeing a lot of people start talking about Palantir. I know you guys probably don't know this, but on my Instagram account, when I was trying to grow a large following about investing in stocks before I saw the potential in crypto, back here I was making videos saying Palantir is one of the easiest plays in the entire stock market. Now you're seeing a lot of people wake up to it. When you look at Meta, I was doing the same thing at Meta. Meta under $100 was actually just stupid, and I was getting a lot of hate for it. And now look at it. Now Meta's at $560. I was doing it for Tesla too. Now everyone is awoke to it, but back here, when Tesla was trading down at $15, $16, no one was really giving me the time of day when I was saying Tesla was grossly undervalued. And then it rallied like crazy. Same exact thing. When I first entered into the crypto market and started talking about it publicly and posting it in all my socials, Ethereum was down here, trading at $100, $200 per coin. And I full ported into it around $300 per coin. And it went on that crazy rally. And so there are clear patterns to all of this, and right now the clear pattern is that DeSci is about to take off. Your time's your most valuable asset. Hopefully this was worth investing it into, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Peace.